You're staring at the question. You know this. You know this. You can picture the page. You can almost see the paragraph. But the actual answer is gone. Like it was never even there. Here's the thing. You read this chapter 3 times. First time to get the gist, second time to really absorb it, third time the night before, just to lock it in. And every reread, you felt more certain. The words were familiar. The concepts clicked. You thought, yeah, I know this. You read it 3 times. How do you know less than someone who read it once? Okay, here's what I actually tell myself. The full loop. I didn't fully get it the first time, so I need to read it again. Okay, second pass. This makes way more sense now. See? Rereading works. I should do one more pass to really lock it in. Yeah, I definitely know this. The words are so familiar now. I could practically recite the sentences. I'm so ready for this exam, and the confidence isn't fake. I genuinely feel prepared. Each reread makes me feel more certain. How can feeling more certain be wrong?
I did this last week. Read a report twice. Felt solid. Couldn't summarize paragraph 2 without looking. Actually, let me show you what happened. Echo, read me back what we've covered in this video so far.
Sure. So we opened with the exam scenario, and the pattern is about how rereading creates this feeling of, it's about the thing where your brain...
That's silence. Right there. That's the sound of learning trying to start. 10 seconds ago, you were fluent. I removed the cues and you hit a wall. Your brain was reading from the scenery, not from the map. And something very specific is happening when that switch flips. Let me show you. All right, let me pull up the diagnostic from that moment. See this gap? Your confidence battery, how prepared you feel, is nearly full. Every reread charged it. But your competence battery, which you can actually produce without looking, barely moved. That gap between the two? That's the mirage. And it widens with every reread.
But I was understanding it. Each time I read it, I understood more.
You were. I feel that too, that warm click of, oh yeah, I get this. And that's the crime. Your brain has 2 completely different modes for knowing something, and rereading only trains one. Think of it as tourist mode and local mode. In tourist mode, you see the sights, recognize the landmarks, and feel like you know the city. Everything is familiar. You nod along. The route looks obvious. In local mode, you can reconstruct the route from a blank intersection with no signs. You don't need to recognize it. You've built the map yourself. Rereading keeps you permanently in tourist mode. Every pass makes the scenery more familiar, but the exam, the presentation, the real conversation, those drop you at a blank intersection and ask you to navigate. That's what the paper Snatch just showed. With the cues in front of you, Echo was in tourist mode, fluent, confident. Remove them and...
I was a tourist who thought they were a local.
Here's the full picture. Imagine driving through a city with GPS 3 times. You see every turn. You recognize every landmark. After 3 drives, you'd say, I know this route. Take the GPS away, and you're immediately lost. You were a tourist the entire time. The scenery was familiar, but you never built the map yourself. The textbook is the GPS. Every reread is another guided tour. Your brain mistakes the smooth ride for navigation ability. Researchers call this an illusion of competence. Your brain's confidence meter is being fed by the wrong signal. Your confidence is real. Your competence isn't. That's not a character flaw. It's how recognition circuitry works. Actually, before I explain the next part, I want you to feel this illusion in real time, not with your study material, with something simpler. You've seen the Apple logo thousands of times. On your phone, your laptop, in stores, on ads, you'd recognize it instantly in a lineup. So, draw it, right now, from memory. Just the outline and the details, the leaf, the bite, the proportions. How did that go? If you're like most people, you got it wrong. Researchers at UCLA tested this. Out of 85 people, only 1 drew it accurately. A logo you've seen thousands of times.
But I know that logo. I could pick it out of a lineup in a second.
Exactly. You can recognize it instantly. You cannot reproduce it. Tourist mode versus local mode. Your confidence battery for the Apple logo is full. Your competence battery is almost empty. That's the Familiarity Mirage, running on a logo you see every day. Now imagine what it's doing to the chapter you read 3 times.
Okay, but wait, I have to push back. Rereading isn't nothing. Every time I reread, I notice things I missed. I make new connections. I understand sentences that confused me the first time. That is learning, isn't it?
You're right. And that's what makes this pattern so sticky. The second read genuinely does add some new processing, especially if the material was confusing the first time. But here's the trap. The third, fourth, fifth reread, the returns diminish fast, and they collapse harder than you'd expect. Meanwhile, your confidence keeps climbing. Each additional pass adds surprisingly little to understanding, but keeps inflating how prepared you feel. The gap between confidence and competence widens with every reread. That widening gap is the mirage. Your confidence says, one more read and I'll be ready. Your brain stopped meaningfully encoding several reads ago.
So the first reread might actually help.
It can, especially for genuinely complex material. But after that, you're polishing the recognition and starving the recall. And the polishing feels so good that you keep doing it. And this doesn't just live in textbooks. Watch.
Recognized every slide. Couldn't deliver without them. Read the docs twice. Couldn't explain the reasoning. Heard it 3 times. Couldn't share a single insight.
Same gap. Every single one. They confused the comfort of tourist mode with the capability of local mode. The material felt known because it felt familiar, and familiarity, in every case, was the mirage. This is backed by decades of research. Cognitive scientists Robert and Elizabeth Bjork distinguish between 2 kinds of memory strength: retrieval strength, how easily something comes to mind right now, and storage strength, how durably it's encoded. Rereading inflates the first temporarily, while adding surprisingly little to the second. Roediger and Karpicke ran a landmark study. One group reread a passage, another group read it once and then practiced recalling it. A week later, the recall group significantly outperformed the rereading group, not by a little, by a lot. The uncomfortable conclusion. The strategy that feels least effective, struggling to remember, produces the strongest learning. And the strategy that feels most effective, smooth, comfortable rereading, produces the weakest.
So I'm not bad at studying, and I'm not stupid. My brain is just confusing the comfort of recognition for actual knowledge.
That's the familiarity mirage. Your brain sees the material, feels the ease of recognition, and logs it as known. But known and recallable run on different circuits. Rereading charges the confidence battery and starves the competence battery.
And I can feel it right now, can't I?
Yes. Think about the last time you reread something and felt that warm, settling confidence. That comfortable, I've got this feeling. That's the mirage's signature. It's recognition wrapping itself in the costume of understanding. Now think about the last time you closed the book, tried to explain something, and felt that straining, reaching discomfort. That's not failure. That's your recall system actually engaging, probably for the first time.
The comfort was the trap. The discomfort was the learning.
Every time. Comfort signals recognition. Discomfort signals encoding. We've been chasing the wrong feeling. Let's try something. Echo, I snatched your cues in section 2 and you froze. Let's try again. No cues. Tell me what we've covered so far.
Okay, so we started with the exam blank, right? The panic, and then the rereading loop, how each pass makes you feel more certain. Then you pulled the paper snatch thing. I went blank. Then the batteries, confidence and competence. And the tourist mode, local mode, that's the GPS thing. Oh, and the Apple logo, 1 out of 85. And then the montage with the, I can't get everything, but I got way more than last time, and it felt awful.
Look at the competence battery. It moved. Not full, but it moved. And notice that strain you're feeling, that tightness in the forehead, that reaching? That's the feeling of the competence battery actually charging. In section 2, you had all the cues and felt fluent. The competence battery was empty. Right now, you have no cues and feel terrible. The competence battery is charging. That's the entire pattern in 2 moments. Here's your early warning system. 2 sensations that tell you everything about which mode you're in. Sensation A, the mirage. Behind your eyes, settling into the back of your head. Warm comfort, smooth gliding. The words flow easily. You nod along. That's tourist mode running. It feels like mastery. It's familiarity. The GPS is on. You are not navigating. Sensation B, actual learning. Forehead, temples, sometimes a tightness in the chest. Mental strain. Reaching. The tip of the tongue frustration. The urge to just open the book and check. That's local mode engaging. That's encoding. The GPS is off. You're building the actual map. The moment you feel the urge to just reread one more time because the struggle of recalling feels uncomfortable, that's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're finally navigating without GPS. If studying feels comfortable, you're still a tourist. The discomfort means you're becoming a local. Here's your experiment. We call it the friction flip. It takes the exact same study time you're already spending and flips where the hard part happens. Right now, the pain hits in the exam room. The friction flip moves it to the study session, where it actually does something. Think of it this way. Stop treating the book like a tour guide. Treat it like a witness. Read it once to get the story. Then close the book and see how much of the testimony you can reconstruct on your own. Phase 1. One read. The exposure. Read the material once. Normally. Don't highlight, don't take elaborate notes. Just read and pay attention. This is your one guided tour, your one chance to hear the witness's story. Make it count. Phase 2. Close the book. The flip. Close it. Right now. Don't reread. On a blank page, write down everything you remember. Not the gist, the actual content. It will feel terrible. You'll think you remember nothing. That's the familiarity mirage being punctured. And here's the key. The goal isn't to know it. The goal is to find the gaps. Every time you forget something during the flip, you aren't failing. You're spotting a hole in the map so you can fix it. Phase 3. The gap map. Now open the book, but don't reread cover to cover. Compare your recall attempt to the original. Find the gaps. What did you miss? What did you get wrong? What was vaguer than you thought? Those gaps are the most valuable thing you can discover. Now reread only the gaps. This is the only rereading that counts.
So I'm not giving up rereading. I'm replacing 3 blind rereads with 1 read and 1 recall attempt.
Same time investment. Completely different result. The friction flip moves the struggle from the exam, where it just causes panic, to the study session, where it actually builds the map. And remember, the reason active recall feels like failing is because you're looking for gaps, not looking for proof that you know it. Every gap you find is a hole you can now fix. The flip doesn't test you, it diagnoses you.
The struggle is where the map gets built.
That's the friction flip. You're not studying harder. You're flipping which part is hard. 1 read, 1 recall attempt, 1 targeted reread. Tourist becomes local. Here's your assignment. I want a field report. Pick 1 chapter, article, or document you need to learn this week. Before you read it, rate your confidence. How much of this do you think you'll retain after 1 read? Give yourself a percentage. Read it once, just once. Then close it. Write down everything you remember. Notice where you feel the mirage cracking, that urge to just peek, the discomfort of not remembering. Where is it in your body? Then open the material. Compare. Count how much you actually got. Post your field report in the comments. I predicted X%. The friction flip proved I had Y%. My mirage gap, X minus Y.
I'll go first. I predicted 80% on a report I'd read twice. The friction flip proved I had about 35%. My mirage gap, 45 points. I would have walked into that meeting completely unprepared and not known it.
That's a field report. And notice something. Echo's gap was 45 points. That sounds bad, but here's what it actually means. The friction flip just identified 45 points worth of holes that Echo can now specifically target and fix. The mirage gap number isn't a grade. It's a GPS coordinate. It tells you exactly where your map has holes. The bigger the gap, the more useful the flip just was. A big number means you caught a big mirage before it walked you into an exam or a meeting unprepared. Remember, the comfort of rereading was never the learning. It was the mirage telling you learning already happened. The discomfort of recall, that reaching, straining, frustrated feeling, that's where knowledge actually forms. 1 tiny aha at a time.